Hello, this is Dr. Vicky speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time for Taroscopes again. We're going to be doing the Taroscopes for the month of December for the sign of Gemini. That's Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, and Gemini Rising. Before we get to the tarot, we're going to take a look at the astrology for Gemini for the month of December and a couple of highlights on that. So let's get started with that first. Before we get into the tarot. All right. Okay, just one more here. Here we go. Yes, that one, please. All right. So, Gemini rising, Gemini, ruled by Mercury, So we do have a Mercury retrograde this month on the 13th. Is that correct? Yes, Mercury goes retrograde on the 13th. And actually, first day of this month, it moves into Capricorn. Mercury moves into Capricorn on the 1st of December. By the 13th, it has stationed retrograde, and it goes back into the sign of Sagittarius. So it starts in your 8th house and moves back into your 7th house. The 7th and 8th houses are both relationship houses. And with Mercury, especially in Capricorn, there can be issues around money. So this is something that perhaps you need to discuss with your partner, or whether it be a marriage partner or a business partner. There is some I's that need to be dotted and crossed and the like. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is somewhat of a stress test when it comes to the structure of things for you. So that is a consideration. Of course, for you, Mercury. Let's see, Mercury in, so Mercury in Capricorn, you need some adjusting anyway because of the nature of the relationship between Capricorn and Gemini anyway. And then when it moves back into Sag, it's in an opposition to your Gemini planets. And so there's an awareness. So I feel like there's like a movement forward, perhaps. And then you're like, you know what, let me double check things. And so you're sort of taking a look at the agreements, especially financial agreements that you've taken. But perhaps you get a better view of who you're dealing with as we have that opposition. Mercury in sort of an oppositional stance to your Gemini planets. The sun starts the month in Sagittarius, as it always does. Optimistic Sagittarius, larger than life Sagittarius, moving through your house of relationships. So there is a highlight on your relationships and how you relate to others. Then it moves and ingresses into Capricorn on the 21st. That is the first day of winter in the Northern Hemisphere and the first day of summer in the Southern Hemisphere. You lucky Southern Hemisphere people. And it is a world point. And so there's always, when anything goes over the world point, when anything moves into Capricorn in this case, we know that there is going to be we're going to see things happen in the wider world for sure. Mercury is retrograde on the 13th of December, moving back into Sagittarius on the 23rd. That's when it's retrograde. And then it's retrograde until January 2nd of 2024. So we end the year with the retrograde. Venus starts the month in Libra here, but she's only in there for 4 days before she goes into Scorpio. She spends most of her time this month in Scorpio from December 4th to the 29th. Venus in Scorpio is interesting energy because Venus is what we value. And Scorpio is an energy of desire. And if you desire something, it means that you don't have it. And Venus is all about having things. So there's this sometimes a little bit of a stranger in a strange land when Venus is in Scorpio, because it's being required to, like, usually Venus gets to sit on the couch and Mars brings her all the stuff. But Venus in a Mars ruled sign requires Venus to go out and get it herself. And so we might be seeing ourselves going out and, getting, this is true of everybody. Venus is mostly spending most of the time moving through your sixth house, which is the house of health. It's the house of work, the work that you do every day. It's a mundane house. It's about pets, and it's about mentoring, and it's about taking care of the details of life. So important that you do pay attention to the details, Gemini, but you're a detail-oriented sign. I mean, Gemini is the details. So there'll be plenty to go over. And then towards the end of the month, Venus moves into Sagittarius. That happens on the 29th and is there until the 24th of January of next year. So things will probably start to lighten up a bit when Venus moves into like after the holiday stress. I think things will calm down for you. And then Venus likes being in the seventh house, so you might actually start to really enjoy yourself once all the responsibility of the holidays are over. Mars will be in Sag all month, so Mars is in your house of partnership, which, if you're in good relationship with your partners, it can mean that you can work, in the same direction and have a vision, because Mars is in Sag. It's big picture, it's meaning, it's exciting. You also have a new moon in Sag in that seventh house. That can be an opportunity to start a new adventure with a new partner, whether that be a romantic partner, a marriage partner. Also, everybody is on your side. Jupiter is in Taurus, moving retrograde until the 30th. We have a couple of planets that change direction. The difference is Jupiter and Neptune are going to move forward. They start retrograde, they move forward. But Mercury, your ruling planet, starts forward. So a lot of the things that you started at the beginning of the month, you'll have to go over, and that stuff won't be resolved until probably the end of January. All right. Let's see what else. Saturn is moving direct, starting to gain speed. It went direct at the beginning of November. It took a long time, or seemingly took a long time, to really get some pep in his step. But Saturn now has a little more pep in his step, and he's moving through your 10th house. You're being evaluated on how good of a job that you've done, and it's very public. It's a very public evaluation. Neptune stations direct on the 24th. That's Christmas Eve. For those of you who celebrate at 25 degrees of Pisces, Jupiter stations direct on December 30th at 6 degrees of Taurus. Jupiter is in your moving through your 12th house. But Jupiter likes being in the 12th house. It is exalted it's actually in the natural. The 12th house is associated with Pisces, and Jupiter was the traditional ruler of Pisces before they found Neptune. And now, you can interchange them. I was reading something that Stephen Forrest wrote about, Jupiter and Neptune and their connection to Pisces. That when you have a transpersonal planet and a closer planet in a sign as a rulership, very often you'll experience your life through, in this case, Jupiter, a little bit. It's a little more personal. All right. Let's see. So over here on the right, I just have some things highlighted. Of course, we have Mercury ingressing into Capricorn here in the 8th house. Mercury makes a trine to Jupiter. Okay, Mercury, while in Capricorn, trines Jupiter in Taurus. And then right after that trine, Mercury stations retrograde. So a Mercury trine Jupiter, you might feel it 2 or 3 days. But here we're feeling it for weeks. And actually, despite the fact that Mercury is retrograde, this Jupiter trine Mercury is actually a really good energy. And even though Mercury is moving retrograde, it doesn't dissuade the goodness that comes out of this aspect. This is an aspect of learning. It's a disseminating trine. So it's an opportunity to both share what you know and learn from others. It is a trine of social rewards. So you might find yourself being rewarded for things, or things coming your way that perhaps you were waiting for, and you're like, oh, Mercury's retrograde now, I'm not going to get it, but you may just get it. Mercury ingresses into Sagittarius, and of course, once Mercury ingresses into Sag, it should make, oh, no. Okay, all right, it's going backwards. All right, sorry. I'm just like, shouldn't it be squaring Saturn? But no. It's with the ingress into Sag in the 3rd week is as it's moving backwards. So it starts at like the end of Sag. We have a last quarter square in the last week. We have a last quarter square to Mercury of Neptune that can confuse things. So, the retrograde is there, but I don't think you really sort of, it could get in the way, or you could feel it more intensely towards the end of the month when when Mercury squares Neptune, because that fuzzes things up, doesn't make things clear. And then you have Mercury making a conjunction to Mars at that time, which is something that happens every 2 years, I believe. So it's a new journey with Mercury and Mars, and that's happening in Sag. So it's like getting your mind set with your activities on how you're going to expand your viewpoint or expand your consciousness. All right, I think that's where I'm going to stop. All right, so we're going to do a card reading now for Gemini, and we're going to use the Thoth Deck, Gemini, and see what December holds for Gemini. Just a few more shuffles. Great. We start with the Emperor. The Emperor. The Emperor is about agency. It's about being in charge of your situation. It can also be somebody who's in a leadership position. So that's where this may be you, or there may be somebody in your life in a leadership position that is which is at issue, we'll say. We have the Prince of Wands crossing this. These are both 2 very fiery cards, yes. So there's a lot of fire here. Fire can be very creative, or it can be very angry. So, and this is an Aries card, and this is also an Aries card. The Prince of Wands in this deck is the King of Wands. He's on his chariot. He's in charge. He is moving in the direction of what he believes to be true. So the challenge here for Gemini is is what you're believing actually true? Let's see what's at the base of it. We have a piece, a stalemate, a cessation of action. This could be the Mercury retrograde, but maybe not. Let's continue. A cessation of stopping of the action. The brakes are on. Let's see what's in the past. Yeah. The end of something. Now, there are a few Geminis out there in the broader world where we could see where this might have been the case for them. So that's in the past. Luckily, that's in the past. So something ended. In the sky, this is oftentimes I see this as a suggestion from spirit, but this is about isolation, feeling isolated, or going into introspection. So this is the universe says stop and think about it. They stop and think about it. So we have introspection in the sky. This is the immediate environment. You really have to see how are you expending your emotional energy? How are you expending your emotional? Is it helping? Is it hurting? This can be, of course, it can be debauchery, so there can be issues with addiction here. But just like it's like an emotional inertia that you just can't like get yourself out of. It's like you're trying to get out. It's like, talk about cleaning the swamp, right? Or clearing the swamp. It's like you're stuck in that. And it's going to take quite a bit, I think, to extricate yourself. But the 7 is about understanding it. It's about understanding it. How it's seen from the outside. The Ace of Cups. I think some people are relieved that you're have stopped in hopes of maybe you're healing, or maybe you're seeing the problem, and people are like, good. For your domestic situation, the Princess of Cups. This is an offering of love, tea, and empathy, but lovely. It's a healing card. It's messages coming to you at home. So you might find yourself more isolated than usual at home, but know that there are good thoughts, good feelings, messages coming to you. You might even be visited by sort of a younger person who brings in that sort of young, optimistic energy into your life. Your hopes and fears is that you can get a handle back on what you're doing and where you're going. Yeah, I would say that's probably a hope. You could have some fear, though, that somebody's trying to manipulate you. So, but I feel like you're hoping that you can pull it back together. Because I feel like whatever this was took you a little bit by surprise. It didn't take other people by surprise, maybe, but it took you by surprise. Let's see what the outcome is. We have the Knight of Swords. This is you rushing forth on your ideas, taking action on your ideas. The only thing, so you're back at taking action. The difference is that at the beginning you were a king and now you're a knight. So that indicates to me that there's another plan. Maybe it's not as mature as this plan would have been, but it's. I almost feel like you're sending out a scout to get the information for you. Let's see what we have. And the Empress. This is abundance. So there is a good ending to this for you. However, if you happen to be a former presidente, or you happen to be a former, say, mayor of a large American city, this is possibly connections to Mother Russia that are being seen. Stopped you in your tracks. This looks like Giuliani, right? And Trump. Okay, let's see what's underneath. Gemini, choices, 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 choices. Cruelty. And this is the Magician as well. Power, focus, 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 focus. This says that the choices that you make, you're responsible for. That's what this says. You can choose this. You can choose to be cruel and hurt people and have cruelty be the point. But it is a choice. Now, I know none of you are doing that. And as much as I'd like to extricate ourselves from those evil Geminis that were running the world for a while there, I have to, if it comes up, I have to say it. So what is it? There's maybe something that you're not seeing, you're not paying attention to, but you're going to have to deal with. And you will, because on the other side of it is abundance. It's just a matter of you don't know it all, and you don't have all the plans quite the way you think you do. But it doesn't mean that you can't be a success. It just means that I think that the direction you're going in may need to change in order to have that success. All right, let's pull a Starseed card. This is all the Oracle pulls this month will be from the Starseed Oracle. I do really enjoy this. I love this deck. You might say, didn't we do that? Yeah, it's okay. All right. The big picture thinking. That's kind of a Sag thing, isn't it? We have that new moon in Sag. Oh, we also have a full moon in Cancer. I didn't mention that. So that's money. That might be money for you, money coming. Sorry about that. I should have mentioned that. All right, what are we doing here? Big picture B. Okay, I'll hold it up and read it. But this time I'll take my glasses off so I can actually read it. The Pleiades are our cosmic cousins. They are here to remind us that it is never too late to learn new things and change the future. You're being called to be a visionary for the planet, to take a breath, shake off what you've been taught about the world, and hold a new vision for humanity. It's very funny because that's very similar to the card reading, right? Stop, redo something, and there's something else out there for you. You're like a natural big picture thinker, here to generate ideas for the future, here to birth a new age and a dream, and dream a new world into being. The future will be woven by dream makers like you, by those who, with enough courage to question the way things have been and envision new possibilities for the planet. The world needs more artists, dreamers, inventors, and visionary thinkers. Perhaps you've had an idea recently that you're being called to usher in. If so, this card is your confirmation that it's divinely guided. The Pleiadians support us in this important stage in Earth's development. They want us to know that the decisions we make today will affect the well-being of our planet and its species. They're calling on you to be a leader of the future, to hold a clear vision of what's possible, to trust that vision and follow it through with daily action, to dream a new world into being, to hold your mind open and try not to worry about what others think, for it takes great courage to pave a new path, to trust a vision before it's a reality. How are you being called to step up and lead? What new ideas or creations are you being called to pursue? So if in fact the brakes get put on something and it puts you in a tizzy or a confused state, know that it's simply a course correction. It is a course correction. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for being with me this year. It has been another insane, crazy time, and I'm happy that I get to share it with you guys. If you enjoy my work, please like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Share these videos. Do you know a Gemini who might need to hear this information? I do personal readings. It's a wonderful gift. The gift of self-knowledge is priceless. And if you can't give the gift to somebody else, because somebody might say, astrology, what? Who? What crazy things are you watching now? Maybe it's time for you to have one if you haven't. Or if you have, maybe it's time for an update. See what 2024 holds for you. I am putting more content on my Patreon page. So if you would like to be a patron, you can do that for as little as $5 a month. It's greatly appreciated. The more patrons I get, the more work I can do on that platform. And I really do. I really would like to do that more and also, of course, continue to share on YouTube. Have a wonderful rest of the year, and we will again get through this challenging time. We'll be wiser. We'll be older. We'll be wiser. And we'll have more tools to create the world we really want to see. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful holiday season, whatever holiday you celebrate. And truly, honestly, namaste. Take care, everyone. See you in January.